All right, welcome to lesson 5.1a, activity 3 for Math AH. Here we go. Remember, you can pause if I'm going too fast. You can rewind if you need to see something sooner, or you can always fast forward. A hiker backpacking through the mountain walks at a constant rate. Below is a rate table with how many miles she walked and the hours it took. From the table, A, write as many equivalent ratios as you can, and B, write the rate of miles per hour in simplest form. Okay, so we're going to go miles over hours. I could also do hours over miles, but I'm going to go miles over hours. And we see that we have 24 miles in 8 hours, which is the same as 6 miles in 2 hours, which is the same as 1 mile in a third of an hour, or 20 minutes, which is the same as 3 miles in 1 hour. Okay, now these are all equivalent because 24 divided by 8 is 3, 6 divided by 2 is 3, 1 divided by a third is 3, and 3 divided by 1 is 3. But the easiest one to read, or the simplest form, or the unit rate, is 3 miles per hour. Okay. 3 miles per hour is the simplest one. We're going to always going back to the simplest one because it's the easiest one to work with. Okay. All the ratios simplified to 3. Three over 1, 3 miles per 1 hour. Okay, now how does that help us? It helps us because we see that if we are at hours and we want to get to miles, we know that we would multiply by 3, or vice versa. If we're at miles and we want to get to hours, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, 1/3, or divide by 3. So then we notice that the miles is 3 times the hours. Okay, I'm going to brought that down just a little bit. Or we can say that hours is 1/3 of the miles. We can see it either way. All right. So next one, find the missing values. So you want to look at what you have. And it says it's constant, or we're assuming it's constant. So I'm looking at what I have. I have 6 children in 2 cars. So that means if I want to go from cars to children, I need to multiply by 3. If I want to go from children to cars, I have to divide by 3 or multiply by a third. So 1 car can hold 3 children. 5 cars can hold 15 children. If I have 30 cars, if I have 30 children, I need 10 cars. Okay, so the number of children is more than the cars, is 3 times the number of cars. Soldiers versus battalions. So some of you guys are like, what is a battalion? A battalion is a group of soldiers. So we know in 3 groups, there are 1,500 soldiers. So I have to think 1,500 divided by 3 is 500. So I know that each group has 500. So to go from battalions to soldiers, I have to multiply by 500. Or if I'm going the other way, I would multiply by 1/500 or divide by 500, same thing. So one group is going to have 500 soldiers. Four groups, 4 times 500, is going to have 2,000 soldiers. And two groups is going to have 1,000 soldiers. There are 500 soldiers. It's not spelled right. Soldiers per battalion. You don't have to phrase it exactly like that. You can say the soldiers are 500 times the amount of battalions, or however you want to say it. All right, last one. Janet casually swims 2 miles in 6 hours. Fill in the values with the rate below. So this time it's not in the chart. So I'm just going to put it in the chart. 2 miles. Miles is distance. In 6 hours. So I know to get from the distance to the time, 2 times 3 is 6. I have to multiply by 3. Or if I want to go from the time to the distance, I'm going to have to divide by 3 or multiply by a third. Okay. So 1/4 times by 3 is 3/4. 0. If you went nowhere, it took you no time. Okay. 1 mile is going to take her 3 hours. 10 times a third, it's going to take her 10 thirds, or 3 1/3 miles in 10 hours. Okay, so you can say it either way. For every 1 mile she swims, she takes 3 hours. Or for every hour she swims 1/3 of a mile. Okay, that is activity C.